Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another webinar in the Master Series BIA Southern California is putting together. I'm Craig Foster with the BIA Southern California. As you know, today's topic will be on utilities and what they're doing through this and how they're here to help you keep jobs going and moving forward. Our panelists today with Edison is Mark Cloud and Karissa Foster, and with Southern California Gas Company is Mark Drake, George Chipa, and Dustin Hensley. Before we engage the panelists, a couple heads up. We've got great attendance today. Over 110 people have registered. I would expect there'll be quite a few questions. We'll go through a question and answer cycle. As we do, the first company up will be the gas company. And if you can run your questions at that time, our moderator, Anna, will then proceed to push those along to our panelists from Southern California Gas. In there, if you would, add your name and the name of your company. And if it is a question that they need to do some research and get back to you, that way we'll be able to cut and paste that question and move it to whoever is going to research and get back to you. And again, at the bottom of your screen, you will see the Q&A box. You just tap that on and then go ahead and input your questions. We'll start with Mark Drake of Southern California Gas Company, and then we'll go through the Q&As, and then Edison will be up and we'll commence with that. So having said that, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Mark Drake with the gas company. Mark, you're on.
Good morning, I'm Mark Drake from SoCalGas. If everyone can hear me okay, just somebody put your hand up real quick for me. Perfect, thank you. So first of all, we wanted to thank Craig and Anna, who's behind the scenes making all this happen, and Karissa. We know it's been the last 4 weeks has been crazy for everyone from BIA, as well as for the builder community. We certainly know your plates are full, and we appreciate you guys taking the time to join us today. From the gas company, I got a call from Craig, I think ago Monday, and he said, you know, we are scrambling to address the state level and the city level regulations and restrictions and get those into a more favorable position for builders to continue work and keep jobs going. Could you guys help us out and provide an update from SoCalGas? And the utility partners are very important, particularly for the gas company at the tail end of those projects when we need meter sets, escrow closes, and resources in the field from our team to help your team get the job done. He asked if we could get, you know, pulled together both a webinar and a written SoCalGas update for builders and building industry stakeholders to kind of give the lay of the land, what we were doing as a company to keep our employees safe, as well as to keep our customers safe and continue to support you guys out in the field. So we, my team has about 240 projects. I run the energy efficiency programs. Those are all in process builder projects where we give the dollar incentives for building green. My team is continuing. We are remote, just like, and we are still up and running on those projects. So when you finish units, we still get checks cut on completed units and out the door. So that is continuing without any interruption. Today we've got 2 people to really, the biggest issues for you obviously are how are our field resources and planning departments operating today. We've got 2 subject contact experts who run our manpower and resources in those areas. We've got George Chipa joining us. George will spend, in conjunction with Dustin Hensley, they'll spend about 15 or 20 minutes giving you a top line. George takes over and runs new business operations, which impacts all our residential builders and distribution planning. Dusty is responsible, he's our planning manager and gas operations. And he has under him a lot of the new business liaisons who you work with on a regional basis. And they are the folks who make sure your field planning services are processing if you get stuck in a problem. Dusty's probably the person you call and his team helps you get it done. So again, we thank you for taking the time. We know that new homes, I always remember, I've done this job for 12 years. I always try to remember that new homes are where jobs go to sleep at night, and we need to keep that going. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to George Chipa. They've got a couple slides. We're going to take down the names of any questions or builders, and we can follow up with any detailed project specific. And we have a quick PowerPoint, and it will help us send out to all attendees as well after this meeting. So with that, George, if you would.
Thanks, Mark. And do me a favor, thumbs up if you can hear me okay. Can you hear me all right? All right, thank you very much. Hey, Mark, thank you very much. And I really want to thank Craig as well and Anna for putting this together. It's very timely. And I also want to thank everyone that's on this webinar, including my peers that you may not see on the video, but are listening in, that are going to help me to address any of the questions that may come up today, or at least provide answers in the future if we can't answer them today. So first and foremost, what I wanted to do was first, I'm hoping that everyone on this call and your families and loved ones are doing well, because that's the number one focus for all of us. I just want to make sure that there's no mistaking about that, that our health and our safety of not only of our customers, the public, but our employees is the number one priority. Obviously, we want to keep operations running, but our number one priority is the safety and health of our employees and the public. So I do want to start off by saying just let's all of us help each other out by adhering to a lot of the guidelines and actual agency requirements that are being established, because as we'll talk about a little bit later today, we're all starting to hear this, and that is if we don't start paying attention, they're going to start shutting us down. I think we've got, through our Northern California Bay areas, you guys have probably already heard that they've basically shut down almost all construction activities. And we don't want that to happen. I think we can avoid that if we can continue to work and follow safe practices. So I just wanted to make sure that we spend maybe 10 minutes or so. I have a PowerPoint to try to answer some of the questions that have been brought up, but I want to save a lot of time for you, for the group, anyone that might have some calls, and hopefully we can answer those questions. Okay. Like I said, I just want a brief introduction on my role as Mark has presented. I am the new business operations and district planning manager for Southern California Gas. I have the entire service territory for any residential building, commercial, or even isolated service. Any customer request for new business construction comes through my organization. And on the call today with me is my right-hand man, Dustin Hensley, who's got a team of new business liaisons and builder and planners that support all of your projects. So hopefully between the two of us and Mark as well can answer any questions that might come up today. But if not, we will make sure we get back to you at a later time to answer any questions you may have. Okay? So I'll go ahead and be presenting a PowerPoint and hopefully answer some of the questions that may have been brought up, and also to talk about our current status, as a company, where we stand. And as you can all imagine, it's very fluid. Every day there's something new coming up that we are trying to address. But thankfully right now we're doing okay. But let me go ahead and bring up that PowerPoint presentation. Since I can't see anybody, Mark, can you tell me, do you see the PowerPoint presentation?
Not yet.
Interesting, because I did request to share the screen. Let me go.
George, I can present it for you if you'd like.
Hold up, just a sec. What about now?
Yes.
All right, fantastic. I love this technology. I will share with everyone, this is my first time using Zoom. I'm used to using other applications, but this is working out very well. So thank you for those of you. Hopefully everyone can see the PowerPoint presentation. It's just a 6-7 slide to go over some highlights on where we stand as a company and what we hope to see in the near term future as we get through this situation. I just want to pause a little bit on this slide to give everyone a chance to basically read what I had asked our senior leadership to provide a statement to our customers. Because as you can imagine, there are many business activities that we have in our company. And as the manager for new business operations, frankly, I asked our leadership, where does new business operations stand in the eyes of our leadership? And they have been nothing but 100% supportive that new business operations is a critical operation and that we will continue to support that as much as possible. As long as whatever we have within our control, we will make sure that it becomes our of highest priority. But obviously, there's some external, pressures that could happen that are out of our control that may change situations. But I just want to spend a little time on this screen so you can read the statement that was provided by our executive leadership, basically letting us know, my team and all of our customers for new business operations, that new business continues and it is considered a priority operation. And we have their full support. So I'll go to the next slide. One of the questions that were asked, what steps is SoCalGas taking right now to assist our builders to ensure we continue with finishing projects in our units and make sure we continue with construction? The one thing I wanted to share from a high level what the company has done, the company has activated the Emergency Operations Center and implemented an incident command system that's being led by our senior executives. As a matter of fact, Marianne Brown is heading up the external efforts. So anything to do with external activities and functions, she's got a strong team focusing on the changes in the environmental from an external standpoint. And then we have our senior executives from the internal standpoint, monitoring all of our operational conditions and impacts of business operations. There are daily, if not 2 to 3 times a day, calls taking place with all of our critical operations to talk about impacts, everything from personnel, equipment, supplies, anything you can imagine, is being discussed every day, and we talk about mitigation strategies. We've also activated our business recovery plans that allow us to continue our critical functions. As you imagine, one of the biggest things that we've been asked to do is separation of employees. So thank goodness for us, we are very strong in our business recovery plans. We practice them every year, and we were actually able to implement them with pretty much ease. Our technical capabilities to work off-site from home for those that could work from home, it went pretty smooth. Everyone, at least in my organization and the supporting organizations that we need, are fully functional, no issues, no IT issues, no work issues. They're in good place. One of the good things too is what we're monitoring is absenteeism. We are not experiencing any unusual absenteeism as compared to any other year at this time of year. So that's all good news right now that we can operate and our employees are at work. We have daily conference calls to talk about operational impacts, such as absenteeism, any change in regulations, requirements, any issues with our employees, with our contractors, or any customer concerns. Once again, every day, each stakeholder department is having these discussions, and if there's any issues to be resolved, they get brought up to our executive leadership to determine action plans. I'm happy to say at this point, and of course, like I said, it's very fluid, but as of today, there is no department in regards to new business operations that has had any kind of significant impact. So things can change, but as of now, we are in full support and can support our new business operations. Key as many teams, but one shout out I want to put out is to our public affairs team and our senior leadership. They are constantly reaching out to our local cities, state agencies, even our federal agencies to find out what the latest status is. And if we can continue, or if they can continue supporting us and our customers with permitting, with field inspection activities, anything that could be impacting our projects out there. And I put in parentheses that this is probably going to be one of our biggest impacts. And that is the cities and agencies continually just being able to support us from a permitting and field activity standpoint. Every once in a while, we're getting, I think by misinterpretation, sometimes we run into cities or inspectors that are placing requirements that they thought they understood, but we're quickly realizing, or we get involved through our public affairs departments and our leaders to those cities and agencies to clarify any rumors that aren't true that are impacting our jobs. So I got another one this morning. It has nothing to do with residential building, but for an example, I got a call this morning saying that some city and some contractor asked us to stop because they heard there's a new requirement and we're looking into that. These are the kinds of things that we're dealing on a daily basis. Another question that came up, are we experiencing any shortage of manpower? Like I mentioned, no. Right now, internally with our construction crews or even our engineering and sketching and right-of-way departments, there's no shortage of manpower. From a field construction activity, we're in constant communication with our contractors and our internal resources as well. No shortage of resources. And what I mean by shortage, I mean we're not experiencing any increased absenteeism. I'll be the first one to say some areas are very heavy for with new construction activities, and that's regardless of our COVID situation. We do have some district areas in our service territory that are very busy and have a little bit longer wait time. But as of this COVID-19, there's nothing unusual from a spike of absenteeism. So resources are good. Our resource scheduling department, I'm in touch with every day to find out if we have any conditions that are taking place out there that's restricting us, and so far, nothing. I will share though, as this third bullet item on here, the third sub-bullet, I will share that we internally and including our contractors are changing work processes to make sure we maintain social distancing, to minimize any meetings if not necessary. We're actually, some of our field planners as well are reaching out to your teams to not have face-to-face meetings if possible. If it's absolutely possible, we still support it, but we just need your help in practicing safe distance and good practices to ensure the safety of everybody. You know, there's this one question that's very hard to answer. What's SoCalGas projection and outlook for the next 2 months? Boy, if anybody on this call can tell me what's going to happen over the next 2 months, you'd be my hero. Unfortunately, we don't know what's going to happen in the next few days, next few weeks. I'm sure we've all heard that this next month is going to be a challenge, not just as a local, state, country, as a world. There's many things that are happening that could change our operation. But I can say, based on what we have right now from our resources, our backup resources, our materials, and our available workforce, as long as no external changes are made, we are looking very good. So the key is we got to continue working with our business partners, including BIASC, our developers, our cities, our agencies, on how we can continue to make this a critical service and allow us to normalize our operations as much as possible. I will say we've been able to maintain operations with minimal impact, but as we all know, this condition is very fluid and can change at any time. I think I answered this question already about material meter shortages. That's been a concern in the past. In the past, we did have issues with our suppliers. Our gas engineering department and supply management have put contingencies in place so we don't run into those situations that we did in the past. Right now, I constantly check with them. 2 days ago, I checked with our meter shop and our ordering departments and our gas engineering. They've all said that, George, we have no indications of any shortages or issues with our suppliers when it comes to meters. He did ask me, George, he goes, but what about on your end? Is construction going to tick up or slow down? And I told him the same thing. I don't know. I don't have the crystal ball, but I don't expect that we're going to have any more increase in projects than we did this time last year. So he said he feels comfortable with meters, and our supply logistics manager feels comfortable with all other materials. One thing that you guys may have heard, our branch offices are closed to the public. We do have personnel working at the branch offices. For those of you that drop off payments at our branch offices, you can no longer have face-to-face contact, but you can still drop your payments at the Dropbox office and they will be processed. I'll leave it here on this slide for anybody that may want to take a snapshot picture. These are just some of the folks, key individuals on the new business operations side that are your key points of contacts when it comes to new business operations. Once again, we will put this slide together in a PDF format and send it to all that were on this call. So if you don't have the chance to take a picture of this, we'll send it out to you. Okay. Lastly, the bullet statement that I have is we really need your help and support. Please, you're our eyes and ears. Let us know what you're hearing out there, what's taking place. If there's something that you should bring to our attention that may impact our projects, let us know. We do request, please, that you honor not only our processes, but maybe some of our construction contractors regarding appropriate spacing and trying to respect, not having face-to-face contact. I will say that in the area that I live and driving from home to work, I see a lot of construction activity, and I do see some practices that I can see why certain agencies would be shutting them down. I think there's a lot more that we can be doing as a construction group or industry, and I just worry that if we don't make changes to our processes, changes will be made for us, and let's hopefully we can avoid that. Okay. That was fast and furious, Craig. I mean, since we don't have everyone asking, do you have any questions, based on what I just presented?
Yeah, Craig, if you want to feed them to us, we'll have an expert jump in, and George or Dusty will answer any questions you have in the box.
Yeah, Mark, George, do you see the question answer box?
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yes.
So we've got 3 up there for you.
Okay. Let me just read one of them, and I will protect the names from the innocent unless everybody else can see them. But will SCE and SoCalGas consider allowing credit card payments for line extensions and services? As SoCalGas, well, let me answer that question. One of my frustrations is that piece of it, credit card payments. We are working on developing an online payment system. And I know there's been discussions about how we can accept credit card payments. I will go back and ask. As of right now, that's not a possibility, but I will continue to ask that question if that will be allowed. And I will try to get back to everybody on that question, okay? The next one, so the answer for now, SoCalGas could not take, it's not that we don't want to, we just don't have the systems to be able to take the credit card payments, and due to some of the fees involved, there's issues with that. But we'll get back to you on that. Next, has SoCalGas thought about allowing wires like, yes, so we've thought about it. It goes back into that. We don't have that capability right now. That is something that we're working on. Dan McNair, our new business customer experience and manager, just got brought on board. It's one of his projects that we hope to have in place within a year, because that would be great to allow us to have electronic payment. So that's what we got there. Next question from Brett with Watt Communications. Are you noticing an expansion of resource availability due to other builders placing their projects on hold? No, not currently with our teams. And I'll say the reason for, at least for gas construction, because it's a very, I say regulated type construction because of operator qualifications. So we just can't pick up any construction activities without them going through the specific training for gas installations. No, so in regards to pipe activities or gas activities, we are not noticing any expansions of resource availability for our industry, at least for our gas operations. So no, to answer your question, we're not seeing an increase in our resources, and it's right now our cycle times are pretty consistent as what they've been before. So the other, I will share with you, because I deal with the other contractors. I know the contractors like NPL, ARB, SE Pipeline, Weissaker, all the folks that you guys work with. I'm in constant communication with them. You know, their resources are still available. Obviously, if the company's got a lot of activities going on, so if any of their resources got relieved from, let's say, other utility work or similar work or construction work, I'm sure they would be bringing them on, because they're chomping at the bit to take on some of our other work. But no, to answer your question, we have not seen an expansion of resources. Okay, and Gina had another question. Can we, Michael, can we does DocuSign for contracts and agreements? Yes, that's in place, Michael, and we can talk offline some other time if there's some questions about that, because that is a process that's in place. So maybe I can follow up a little bit later to find out what your question may be specific to that. But yes, DocuSign is available for our contracts and agreements. Dustin, do you have anything to add on that, unless you've heard something different?
Yes, I believe we have another vendor, and they're called OneSpan.
Okay, gotcha.
But the similar platform where you can electronically sign the contracts.
Okay. Okay. And we can offline just follow up on that to make sure we understand what that question's all about. Okay.
So,
all right.
Craig,
that's all.
Craig, did we miss anything? Did we cover anything? We're right at just short of the half hour we promised. And we do have, again, the slides available in a PDF that Anna from BIASC will send out. And we also have a SoCalGas written update as of today, the things that George covered off on. But Craig, any other BIASC questions to SoCalGas that we?
I think we're good to go, Mark. Again, I can't tell you how much we appreciate you and George and Dustin getting on this webinar series today with very short notice. I think, you know, I'll make the introductions to Edison, but I want to let all the attendees know that we're talking, all of us, the panelists, we're talking. We'll look and see where we are in maybe the next 10 or 12 days. As George had mentioned, we're expecting a real peak to occur in April. Hopefully not, but if we need to have another utility webinar in the next 10, 12 days, we will do that. So again, Mark, George, Dustin, thank you so much. And again, now I'll introduce Mark Cloud and Karissa Foster with Edison. Karissa, I'll turn it over to you right now.
Okay, thank you so much, Craig. And I'd, first and foremost like to thank the CBIA for hosting this forum. It's a great opportunity for us to reach a broad base of our customers. My partner is Mark Cloud. He is our government relations manager as well, so he can address any of the concerns that are related to our public affairs. I'm the senior manager for the new development planning organization, and my primary responsibility as it relates to this group is residential development. So for all residential development, your work comes through my organization. And here at Edison, we want to just acknowledge, we understand this is a challenging time. We know you're counting on your power to not only continue to be there, but to be installed. So our team is dedicated to your safety and your service. We'll continue to see our crews working out in the fields 24/7 to keep your electricity going, and actually also to respond to any customer needs. We understand that many people are staying home. to prevent the spread of the virus based on Governor Newsom's stay-at-home order. But we also are receiving lots of concerns about, scheduling power outages. So we want you to know at Edison that we will continue to safely provide a reliable service. And what that means is we will continue with critical scheduled outages, even during the COVID-19 situation. This is consistent with Governor Newsom's stay-at-home executive order, which has recognized that essential work as defined by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Cybersecurity, and Infrastructure Security Agency guidelines must continue. So we want to acknowledge that. And we are working daily to make sure that we are compliant with the CPUC, the Cal OES, and the Cal Fire guidances that they have provided. And we want you to understand that we don't take any decision to proceed with an outage lightly. Our teams are working to shorten any duration where we can. We are going forward with necessary work to protect the public safety and to reducing wildfire risk. We're postponing any non-critical work that would cause an outage, and we're evaluating each and every outage on a case-by-case basis. So we are moving forward with customer work. We're just continuing to evaluate each outage on a case-by-case basis. As for our own employees, we're so grateful that our field workers are out there to ensure the power stays on, and we have a reliable and safe and secure network to provide power to you. To reduce the risk of COVID-19, our employees who are able to conduct their business remotely are now teleworking. So a majority of our workforce is teleworking, like myself right now. And we are making sure that there's a seamless customer service and operations available for all needs. And some, of course, some workers will still continue to work at the Edison facilities, for example, our field folks and our customer contact centers. And we have, if you're concerned, we do have many procedures in place to help protect our workers and their well-being. We've enhanced our cleaning, we've enhanced cleaning at our facilities. We are definitely practicing social distancing, physical distancing for anybody that is on site and when they do go to the workplace and when they go out to different jobs in the field. And we're looking to minimize exposure anywhere and everywhere. So we know that we're in this together. We know things will continue to change. We'll continue to be here to keep the lights on for you, and we're going to continue to work through the crisis together. So, much as the gas company, stated, they're still in line with business. We are still working through all the challenges, and, day by day, we adjust accordingly with each new update that comes about. But we are available out there and working. Our timelines are pretty much the same, and we work with the customers as needed if there's any changes. So, we didn't actually prepare a slide presentation. Most of our bullet points that I just discussed are on our sce.com website. And then, of course, you can, I'm sure my name will be available to all for email questions if you need to beyond this webinar. Mark, do you have anything you want to add?
Hey, everybody. Nice job, Chris. You pretty much covered everything that all of our key messaging here for folks who are watching. It's important to know that I just want to reemphasize, at Edison, safety is the #1 priority. So we're taking the COVID crisis really, really seriously, which is why, 2/3 of our employees are now working from home to stall the spread of the virus. We're going to be working with all of our customers, both residential and commercial, to ensure that our service levels are really high, that they can remain as high as humanly possible in spite of some of the perhaps setbacks that we're experiencing because of the COVID crisis. But Edison is here to keep service levels really high, to support Southern California as we go through this together. We are donating $1 million to organizations that are going to be providing support and services related to the COVID problem. So we're getting involved there. We're taking calls from our local electeds, our state electeds, and on a case-by-case basis, determining whether or not we can postpone or push back, as it were, outages that are being planned. And in some cases we're able to, in other cases we're not. So that could impact you as a commercial customer. It might impact you as a residential customer if you live in our service territory. But we understand that this is a really difficult time, and quarantining at home is hard enough. Having your power out is going to make it that much more difficult. So we're taking that really, really seriously. But the safety here is number one and supersedes anything else that we're doing. To that point, the wildfire season is right around the corner, and we take the wildfire problem really, really seriously too. And we're working over the last year and a half or so to harden our grid. In essence, it's fireproofing our grid, and we're going to continue with that work. The fire season is right around the corner, and we're expecting there to be some kind of overlap between the current crisis, the COVID crisis, and the wildfire issue. And how that impacts or how those two issues intersect, we don't exactly know yet how, but we're kind of bracing for those two issues to intersect. And we want to reemphasize that in spite of how dire kind of the COVID crisis is right now, we are not letting up on the wildfire problem, and that work will continue. And that work actually supersedes work related to virtually anything else, because again, that risk for wildfire is really, really high still, and it's still an issue that we're facing here in Southern California. And so that work is also continuing. And so I just wanted to put that out there as well. But other than that, Karissa did a great job covering what we're doing internally and operationally to get through this current crisis. And I'm standing by. We're happy to answer any questions that we possibly can. And if we can't today, we'll get those questions answered to you ASAP. Thanks so much, BIASC, for allowing us on today. I really appreciate it, Craig and Anna. Take care.
Yeah, Karissa and Mark, thank you so much for that. Do have a question. I don't know if you can see it or if you'd like me to read it.
I can read it if you want.
Okay.
Thank you, Craig. So this is from Gina Cox, and we work with a lot of builders and all of your team, and just want to say an excellent job everyone has been doing, especially during this crisis. Both SCE and SoCalGas have been very responsive and helpful, almost more than normal. Thank you. This is greatly appreciated. Thank you, Gina. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Gina.
We're in it together.
Yes, thank you very much.
Good deal.
Stay safe.
Yeah. At this time, there are no further open questions. So again, I'd like to thank our panelists and our partners in this.
Oh, one more question, Craig. Sorry, just
Sure.
came up. So what is the likelihood that SCE will begin to allow electronic submittals? If your project manager is not accepting electronic submittals as of, I will say since the COVID crisis began, feel free to reach out to me. We are trying to make sure that everyone is accepting electronic submittals, especially in light of the COVID crisis.
Good deal. All right. Let's give it a minute here to see if we have any more questions coming our way.
Sounds good.
All right. With that in mind, again, thank you to our partners, Edison and SoCalGas. Greatly appreciate on short notice you dropping everything to speak to our members, and we had a great attendance on this. Everybody is very much interested. As I mentioned, we'll kind of see what the next 10 business days bring us. And then if we need to circle back and create another utility meeting, we will do so. And I'll interrupt for a second to state that we had another question. Do you see that, Chris?
Yes, I do. Melissa Wright with Pacific Utility Installation. I'll take all the thank yous. She said, we'd like to say thank you for keeping your inspectors out on the job. It's been a tough rain season on top of everything, and thank you for pushing through. And thank you very much. And again, we're all in this together. We get updates just like you do every day from the PUC, the governor, and we're just trying to make sure we keep everybody informed of what's going on out there. Safety is our first and foremost, and making sure the public's safe and our employees. Great to hear.
Cool.
Another question, do you recommend the public to purchase generators for power outages? You know, that's an individual prerogative, I would say, if you want to purchase your individual generator. We're not anticipating power outages. You know, it is possible if we are scheduling a large outage. That is one of the mitigating factors that we are looking at when we are scheduling outages. If there's an opportunity to utilize a generator, if you have one, that's wonderful. But it is one of our mitigation factors that we are also looking at when we look at each outage case by case.
All right.
Good questions. Thank you.
Well, as I tried to conclude, I always get another question. All right. At this time, again, thank you, panelists, Edison and SoCalGas. I greatly appreciate it. We'll regroup in 10 days, as I mentioned, and see what we need to address at that time. Hopefully it's continuing good news. And again, I want to thank all of our members who came on to watch this today. And, you know, again, the BIA of Southern California will be presenting an ongoing list of webinars for your use as far as where our industry is headed during these times. So with that, I will conclude. Again, thank you all, and stay tuned for the next webinar. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.